Ryvius. And this is a list I've been playing a little bit. It's a little bit different from the list we saw earlier. What does this list do that the one from Staz does not? Which I can...
There's a couple different things.
Sorry, these aren't the extra cards, but it's the Rebel Bouncer is obviously important, as this is more of the, I feel...
It's a 6-drop that you can still use with the Conjurer's Calling if you'd like.
Cards. So yeah, I really like this build from Ryvius.
Aggressive enough. The Shadow Steps can be used a lot with...
The Swampoos and minus Life Drinkers, but the third deck that we can take a look at, and just how each week, we've never really had anything like this, because most tournaments, one weekend, or a section of the tournament is over a weekend, and then another section of the tournament is later down the line. This is literally week on week on week. The closest thing is we have regional playoffs that we had, where week 1 of, say, EU, would what everyone brought did well with, kind of impacted week 2 and 3, but this is consistent, and you have to make a singular decision on what class you bring. But let's kick it off. Ryvius versus Cheonsu. Ryvius with the Mage for this week, and Cheonsu on the Rogue. Let's see how it starts. Salty deckhand. Looks like Cheonsu's just going for it. He does have Shadow Step and the Miscreant as well, so we can get some value with this opening hand. But what's Ryvius up to, Language Hacker?
Well, what this Mage deck does a lot, you usually pass for the first few turns, except in some very rare circumstances, and then you just have an explosive turn. You either just play Mountain Giant normally, or you can go Apprentice, Coin, Elemental Evocation, Ray of Frost, Mana Cyclone. It feels very combo-y, or it feels like how you used to play the normal Conjurer's Mage, where you just play something big and try to Conjurer's Call it.
You almost need to know, even at a minimum, 2 completely different playstyles with the same deck. It's very strange, isn't it? And sometimes you think, oh, can I hold on? Like, should I go in now? It's very difficult, for me at least, to know when to go off. Right, I never really feel like I'm doing it at the right time, so I'm, you know.
It's not obvious. I mean, I'm
it's
curious
hard,
to see how
right?
Ryvius is going to pilot this. Yeah.
Well,
Cheonsu,
kick to the face.
Cheonsu's Shadow Stepping the deck count on 2, which I really like. Gives him a way to activate the Miscreant on 3.
Yeah, and this is just, for me, a strong display of knowing what your hand is and knowing how to progress the game with that, because I feel like an early lesson for beginners is sometimes you've just got to do what your hand tells you to do, because you can't, you know, make presumptions that you're going to draw the right cards at the right time. And, you know, I agree with you. I do like this Shadow Step just to get this Miscreant live, and now double Discover Spell means that Cheonsu is going to be generating some of his own craziness.
Could find some Walk the Planks. Not even in the
there
deck
you go.
initially.
Yeah.
Ryvius going to take his time, gather more resources in his hand, maybe set up for a Mountain Giant next turn.
And that's the thing, you know what's kind of funny as well? It's something that Cheonsu has to think about, is because of the double Giant like build.
The Sea Giants, you mean, on top of it?
Yeah, the more he goes... Sea Giant and Mountain Giant, thanks. The more he goes wide with lackeys, the easier it is to play a Sea Giant and do silly things
and
with
Rabble
it.
Bouncers.
Yeah, so it's just...
all things.
It's such a good list. So Academic Espionage means that Cheonsu can say, I'm going to go as crazy as you are in terms of generating cards. Wanted, definitely not bad. Stuck its way into some miracle lists at the World Championships not too long ago. Pickpocket, I feel like you can't give Ryvius the time that Pickpocket would give him if you wait to try and get a Pickpocket turn off. I do like the Wanted overall, I think.
Yeah. We don't have a backstab or anything in hand. You might not want to eviscerate, say, a Sorcerer's Apprentice behind Mirror Images if that comes down at some point. So the Wanted gives you a clear answer for that if that happens.
And continues to proc combos later with the coin, so it's just kind of a win-win. And now I think this is what Cheonsu has to do in this matchup. I think along the lines of I'm rogue and I'm going to kill you is very, very good. Because just, you know, waggle pick into the buffs, into the push damage from hand is going to be great. And also, a note for those of you who may not be too familiar with the list, Ray of Frost cannot target face. Nope. Which means that, you know, you're taking weapon damage no matter what.
I really like this from Ryvius. He could just play out a Mountain Giant, just have it on board, set up for the Conjurer's Calling. But this way he's filling his hand with some extra spells with a Mana Cyclone, puts Mana Cyclone on the board, and this sets up for a Mountain Giant Coin Conjurer's Calling next turn, which can play around the sap that Cheonsu has in his deck.
Right, and suddenly Pyroblast and Arcane Intellect, and you see the value, right? The Ray of Frost got played, you might think, well, they're weird Ray of Frost targets, but he replaced one Ray of Frost, technically, because it's a twin spell, with a Pyroblast and an Arcane Intellect, and he got a 2-2 on the board. That is just a magnificent turn.
It's insane, and the cards that you can generate off the Mana Cyclone can completely change what the game looks like.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, with
you can get another Conjurer's Calling.
Yeah, there are games where you can just. It's crazy. Like I played games where you just have 3 Conjurer's Calling, and 2 of them weren't even from your deck, and you still have 1 left over. And my warrior opponent's like, "Oh, dude, just stop, please."
You start Conjurer's Calling just like 3 drops just because you can.
Yeah,
it's like I want
get it out of my hand.
Whatever. I need to empty my hand out Conjurers.
Yeah.
Cheonsu gonna trade off versus the Mana Cyclone. Small nod from Ryvius.
So now with 5 mana on the coin, Ryvius can go Mountain Giant, coin, Conjurer's Calling. A cute thing you can do with Elemental Invocation on coin is if you have a 3-mana Mountain Giant on turn 4, you can go Elemental Invocation, Mountain Giant, coin, Conj Calling a turn early.
Right.
Won't be needed this game, but let's see what comes out of the box.
Now the first true test for Cheonsu. You know, the mage has done its turn. Basically, the one turn you fear, which is the giant into Conjurer's Calling. Can you beat this? Or survive it, maybe is a better word. It does have a second Corsair now off the top, so it's going to be nice, because what this deck doesn't run outside of randomly generated spells is AoE.
Right.
So outside of just punching through them, there's no good way for these taunts to be removed.
Could find Betrayal, maybe?
Nothing. Oh, Betrayal would be spicy. Of all people as well, you suggested Betrayal. One of your favourite cards, isn't it?
Good card.
Made its World Championship appearance.
Might lean towards the Cold Blood, maybe try to clean up the board. The problem with... You obviously need to kill the taunt or get past it to start killing Ryvius, but you can't even leave the giant up because you know there's a second half of a Conjurer's Calling in his hand, so...
Twin Spell's really strong.
Yeah.
I am happy that I made a not-so-bold prediction that I felt like every Twin Spell card would be insane, and I feel like I'm correct. It turns out when one card is equal to 2 in your deck, it's pretty powerful. And now though, you know, Cheonsu's answering by bye-bye taunt. Yes, you can Conjurers again, but if he doesn't hit a taunt, he is just dead.
No, he has a Nova.
I mean, that's what Cheonsu wants to say.
Oh,
Ryvius
yeah.
Cheonsu's plan is to just say, if you don't do something big, you just die. Like, enjoy your 8/8s, but they don't have taunt right now.
Half
so
the time. Yeah, half the time you only get 1.
Oh,
wow.
100% of the time Ryvius gets 2.
And this is part of the power of the Frost Novas. When your opponent can't deal with your initial board, you can just stall out if you don't have anything and you need to make the game go longer, but when you have a board already, you can Frost Nova and continue to push the advantage that you have. Double Icicle.
Also, a Pocket Galaxy is nothing to sniff at if you can whip it in somehow.
I'd be very surprised if we saw that come out this game. I'd be excited.
I'd love it. Yeah, I was going to say I'd love it, but surprised.
Ryvius playing the Mana Cycle in the middle to play around a discovered and identified contract or a betrayal.
So, Tog's scheme gives him some safety with Myra's, so it just means he's not fatiguing as hard, because, you know, suddenly fatigue a couple of times and then 2 giants hit you just lose. So he could, for example, take Scheme and then plan to maybe Myra's next turn.
Kind of scary from Cheonsu's side here that there's a big board coming down and you don't have a great way of dealing with it.
He's looking for his own Frost Nova.
If he can somehow clean up these Grave Horrors, he might be past the worst of it. Ryvius has 6 random cards in hand and then 2 cards from his deck. Choosing to pilfer. Maybe find a polymorph or something.
Okay, gentleman's agreement. Lunar Galaxy War.
With the Wanted or the Viscerate, he can clean up one of the Grave Horrors.
Yep.
Bounces the green skin.
Yeah, I think this is cleaner, right?
Yeah. This is
against the coin. Did he?
I think he got it off. Oh. Just missed it.
Okay, that one hurts.
That one hurts,
wasn't even... You missed 1 damage because you couldn't swing 1 minion because you were rushing. That's just... He's just dead.
Yeah.
He's just dead. And he wouldn't have been if he played Wanted and got it off. That is a rough way to lose game. Oh, never mind, I'm talking rubbish. Ryvius does need it. He knows better than I do. So what's the benefit of this? He loses a Frost Nova, Mind Control Tech, a Sea Giant, and an Astromancer. But as I said, gains the Oozes, the Vex Crows, and the Giggling Venter.
Astromancers tend to be a bit too slow. Vextro gives you another early game option if you don't draw your Apprentice or Cyclone or Giant, where you can just throw out the Vex Crow with 1 or 2 cheap spells, and then you actually get something out of it. So it gives you some early mid-game stuff you can do before finding your more explosive turns. And the Ooze just helps against Waggle Picks or just normal deadly poison weapons.
Yep. Okay.
We see Cheonsu also switching to the list with Henge Clan Thugs and Walk the Planks.
So, this is the moment where it might not come up, but I hope it does, because a way you can play around Walk the Plank is by hurting your own minions. So you can ping your own giant, for example, and it's safe versus this tech. My question is, well, one, will it come up? We'll see. But mainly, like, is Ryvius going to do it? You know, how, like, ingrained in that in terms of, you know, memory and knowing what deck your opponent's going to play? You know, how much of an impact is that going to make? Because that's potentially game winning. See the Henge Clan come out pretty early, though. Coin it out, ready for the hero power, potentially next turn.
I mean, there's no answers for this from Ryvius, short of 3 Ray of Frost, which isn't something you necessarily want to expend this early. Cheonsu knows that Henge Clan Thug, early aggression against this mage, don't give him a chance to, you know, get enough time.
Funnily enough, would he ever ooze anyway? Like, ooze Ray of Frost, maybe?
Specifically against Cheonsu's list, if Ryvius is paying attention, he might. He knows there's no backstabs.
Right, so it's safe, right?
Exactly.
This is what we were talking about, and this is what confused me the most, is that, like, I feel like backstabs are just such a good card, it feels hard to cut for me. He's going to get the Deadly Poison. Ryvius, was that just a fist pump? Was he like, yes, he can't kill it?
Henge Clan is that problematic. It chips off so much damage early.
I don't know. Oh, an Eviscerate would have killed it, and that's it?
Perhaps, yeah. Yeah, an Eviscerate would have killed it.
Just a flat Eviscerate or a Sap, technically, would have dealt with the problem, but yeah, Ryvius now rewarded for that play and kills off the Henge Clan, and again, suddenly it's just looking a little bit meager. There is Raiding Party, of course. I can get off 1 Dread Corsair.
Oh, might have 2.
Oh, sorry, yeah, he's prepping it, of course. Yeah, you're right. 2 Corsairs, going to put on a little bit of pressure. But now, like, you know, Vexcrow, Rabble Bouncer. There's Vexcrow into Magic Trick next turn, which is going to be pretty nice.
There's only 1 pirate left in the deck, I believe. It's just the greenskin, so this raiding party isn't that... The second raiding party, anyways, isn't that useful.
Yeah, because the double pick as well, right?
Right. That does mean he has a couple turns figured out where you have to equip the Waggle Pick, start hitting.
Look at this as well, just Rabble Bouncer for 4 mana is just so powerful in itself. Ray of Frost going to come down, Ray of Frost number 1 going to come down out 4 to freeze this minion, and yes, it can be cleaned up by the weapon, but that's a weapon swing and 3 damage put into that minion. You're like, well, this is fine, you know, this is no real problem.
Giggling is going to be a bit of a problem as well for Cheonsu to get through.
And now there's what, Vexcrow and then the Magic Trick and Ray of Frost next time?
Yeah. That's the obvious play. We'll see what Ryvius draws, but...
And also he could Magic Trick something better, right?
Right.
Mirror Images, for example.
Images would be insane if he gets that.
Ooh, is Cheonsu trying to dodge the ping? Huh.
Yeah, the ping.
That's kind of funny because we can see that, like, the ping wouldn't have happened anyway. Obviously, he still gains the health, so it's just a net gain regardless. But for use of a Shadow Step, like, the ping actually wouldn't have happened, almost certainly.
Yeah. I'm thinking...
Oof. Okay.
I'm thinking we might see the Elemental Evocation come out just for the extra 2-drop of the FX Crow.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Oh, we need one of those.
Oh, yeah. Can bounce it back. Gain a Shadow Step somehow.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one. And suddenly, if Cheonsu has to clear... If he chooses to decide this board is threatening enough, at least the Vexcrow, surely, and he clears this board, or even if he doesn't, he's got a whole lot of nothing right now, right?
Yeah.
He would have to, what, like, walk the plank the 0-5, of this the 3-3?
I don't know if we're walking the plank in the 0-5. We'd probably walk the plank in one of the other 3-3s.
I guess. Oh, yeah, sure. That makes more sense.
I mean, the Lightwell is threatening, but...
I'm scared. I'm scared of a Lightwell, okay? It's like minus damage. Come on. Also known as healing.
I mean, we're seeing here how the Vexcrow helps in this matchup. When you have these spells, you don't have Apprentice, you don't have Cyclone, there's not a whole lot you can do with them, but the Vexcrow adds another way where you can just get the value out of the spell itself and then some extra.
Yeah, honestly, for this 1-game sample size here in Grandmasters, I've been more impressed with Vexcrow already than I thought I would be, if I'm completely honest. I didn't think it would be as good as this turn, but this is only 1 turn, right?
Yeah.
And he had pretty good cards for it as well, but maybe that's common.
And this itself isn't going to win out the game, but it requires Cheonsu to use resources to clean it up. You can't just leave the Vexcrow hanging around for so long.
It's a lot of damage not going face.
Yeah.
That one's clear.
And again, this just buys time for Ryvius.
It was pretty much a Frost Nova for a couple of cards. now. And Cheonsu, I think Cheonsu just looked like I felt if I was him. It was just the sort of glance to the side and back like, I just cleared that other board.
Yeah.
And now there's another board I have to clear and not do any damage to my opponent. Savage.
Cheonsu's hand's not doing a whole lot against these Noyatrons. We have enough swings to start getting through them, but again, the raiding party pulls only a green skin, which you can't even play this turn. And the second Shadow Step doesn't help him do a whole lot. You get to replay these the Dread Corsairs after you step them if you really want to, you know, in a sense heal them back up, but not quite the value you want to be getting back off of the Shadow Step.
At least he gets to pull the green skin.
Right.
At least, but then his hand is effectively Shadow Step green skin, which is not magnificent considering we can see the Sea Giant, which is, I'll say, mediocre at the moment. It's a playable minion, which is good for Sea Giant, but the double Arcane Intellect means that Ryvius can go on for days, and Cheonsu, outside of drawing the Myra's Unstable Element, it's going to be running a little bit dry here. I think Cheonsu just has gone with his play, so he doesn't have to equip the Waggle Pick, but doesn't mean he gets a deck count out.
Yeah, he'll want to kill the Giggling Inventor here over the Cyclone, because the Giggling Inventor at 7 mana poses a threat with Conjurer's Calling. Let Ziliax pick up Arcane Intellect's a good start.
It's just going from good to better now. I feel like this whole game so far, Ryvius drew the Ziliax for the nice trade, as you said, and now there's still 2 Arcane Intellects in the hand. Thank you, Mana Cyclone.
Oh.
And also a Frost Nova.
No, it was a magic trick.
Oh, sorry, Magic Trick, not Mana Cyclone.
Yeah, I was looking at them like...
It's because Mana Cyclone was on the board,
Yeah,
but it
right?
wasn't played, right?
I was going to say, can we,
It was summoned,
can we
yeah.
check these decks? 3 Arcane Intellects?
I mean, I know this is Specialist, but this is silly.
Okay. Cheonsu taking his turn here, playing out the green skin, hoping for something in his deck to help him out. There's not a whole lot left that'll give him gas. He probably needs a Miscreant or Myra's to be able to stay in this game. Ryvius taking time to draw. He's almost at full health.
Yeah, when Ryvius plays 1 Arcane Intellect and then another, and it's completely fine and safe versus Rogue, is when you know you're feeling good about life, if you're Ryvius here, because he spent pretty much his turn just drawing cards and not really doing anything else, and he's fine, like you said, nearly full health. Cheonsu has to make something big happen, and Evil Miscreant isn't bad though.
I'm expecting perhaps a Preparation Miscreant. You could Shadow Step the green skin to buff up your weapon, kind of bait out the weapon removal, or you can... Okay.
I was wondering whether you actually Shadow Step the Miscreant.
I'm thinking you want the Miscreant for more staying power.
Ooh, okay, 5 to face. Nice. He can double pay the 1/1 to kill the Mana Cyclone too. Very powerful turn. Cheonsu needed something like this.
Yeah, this is exactly what Cheonsu needed to stay in the game.
Just working out whether he wants a 2/1. I think you go the other way. So I feel like this just makes Sea Giant more playable than it needs to be.
Not a lot of way to deal 3 damage to Miscreant, at least naturally in Ryvius' deck, so Cheonsu's holding off the Shadow Step for now.
We can see Scorch is in hand though, because you can't play around cards you don't know about. Yeah, oh, here we go. Just
Let's let Ryvius
look
play
at the
Mountain
fireworks.
Giant. Both Conjurer's Calling can come out here.
Oh my.
He can choose to decide if he wants to...
Just keep playing it, it's fine.
Well, you can Nova here as well to just make sure no damage gets in. Or you can...
Arcane Explosion's probably fine. He's actually just going to play
as
super
well.
safe.
Cleaning up.
Scorch into Arcane Explosion. Yeah, wouldn't have Nova'd if he'd Scorched in the green skin, but there's a sap. But what's a sap going to do at this point?
I mean, I don't know if you want to sap anything here.
You prefer to sap your own Miscreant
Yeah.
outside of any other minion.
That's kind of what this mage does. Like, there's so many different ways you can utilize the tools in the deck to just do just about anything.
Yeah.
It has trouble healing, but other than that, you can generate big boards, you can stop big boards, you can delay the game, make big minions, small minions.
Yeah, and even the inclusion again, this one Sandbinder most of the list are playing is just nice because it's a decent minion. It's not bad. It draws a card, and that card it draws is either a Mountain Giant or a Mana Cyclone. both fantastic. And also, it's just not, again, the worst target for a Conjurer's Calling as an emergency. So
Yeah, in some matchups, the 4-drop is just good.
yeah, it's just good enough. Like against Rogue, for example, you don't always need Mountain Giants. You can just play it. It's going to sap the Embers.
I don't think Ryvius is going to spend 10 mana to play that.
Just going to summon some more.
Now, the thing is, what I said previously, Mage has difficulty healing. We've seen Ryvius play out already the Zilliax in the deck. There's no Ice Barrier, there's no Alex Schwarz or stuff like that. So if Cheonsu does manage to just stall out the game a bit, a few more turns, find maybe Leroy or Myra's, get some extra chip damage in, he could end the game. 18 health isn't that much against Rogue.
Yep, there's a fear that this, he knows one card is a lackey in Cheonsu's hand, but he doesn't know the other one. I think there's a consideration for playing the Secret and playing Frost Nova.
Yep.
Because then you make Cheonsu think, oh, if it's any other Secret, then I'm in trouble.
I think Ryvius is going
He did get the Emirates back, I told you.
Ryvius is going to try to close out the game next turn.
I love the Secret play, though, because if Ryvius thinks that Cheonsu's one card is Leroy, then Cheonsu has to think about what he needs to do if it's an Ice Barrier,
Right.
for example, or a Vaporize, because he can't attack any other way apart from a Leroy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even if the secrets aren't good, just the fact that they're up means it's difficult to decide how to play around stuff, if you even can.
Now he's going to be feeling pretty safe because Cheonsu's just digging for a dream, and unless they release it soon, I don't think they've added a new lackey that says kill multiple 8/8s on the board.
He could discover Vanish.
He could, yeah.
Could also discover Betrayal.
What the plank would help maybe a tiny bit, but Ryvius
Yeah, sigh of relief there.
pumped for that win, and I don't blame him because honestly,